ConsultatoGM.com, CPGM Headley, CPGM Drew to my left, CPGM Juice to my far left, and ConsultatoGM.com is the website. We want you to like, we want you to comment, we want you to subscribe. We're on the hashtag Dog Pound Draft Recap, the Cleveland Browns, the owner of the #1 and the #4 overall pick. I was watching the draft. I'm saying, oh, it's probably going to be Sam Darnold. Maybe they sneak in a Saquon Barkley. We're hearing toss of Josh Allen. And who did they say? #1? Baker Mayfield, man. Curveball at the beginning of the draft. What do you guys think, man? Oh, that's a sigh. Oh, man, come on.
That's your guy. You go and get him, man.
There you go.
Rhythm quarterback, man. I know people, kill these guys from the Big 12, and really, you can't not kill them. But at the same time, it's not their fault, man. They play within the confines of the conference and the confines of the offense, man. And Baker Mayfield, man, I like the pick. I like the savvy, I like the intangibles of this guy, man. I'm okay with the pick, man.
You all right with it?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay. You okay? I think you can hold it against him. I think you can. I think we're allowed to hold the Big 12 against him. Doesn't mean that they can't. They don't overcome that though. It doesn't suggest that they can't play at the next level. But certainly you got to take that in with a grain of salt. My thing with Mayfield is, accuracy plays. He's definitely a leader in terms of being on the field. He generally makes good decisions. There's been some times where I've questioned his decision making, but generally he's making the right reads, right decisions. I think he's a scheme quarterback though. I think he's a system guy. I don't think this is a guy that you can drop into any system, West Coast, traditional vertical attack, whatever the case may be. I think he's a spread guy. I think when you look at his tape, there's a lot of passes at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. You can't take his intangibles away from you. You can't take the intensity. You can't take that accuracy, which is one of the most important attributes that a quarterback has to have when going to the professional level. But he because of the way he carries himself on the field, I think there is a certain level of his ability to kind of raise the level of the play of the guys around him, to galvanize the guys around him. But I think the Todd Haley hire is starting to make more sense now.
Yeah.
Because Haley is one of the offensive coordinators, and you've seen it throughout the NFL. It's become more pervasive. That really went kind of all in when it came to the spread. Right. There's obviously prototypical elements to his playbook, but he, there were times where I was frustrated, not even being a Steelers fan, I was frustrated with the fact that they wouldn't just put 2 backs in the game and hand the ball off to Le'Veon. There was just a lot of, quick passes and get the ball out of your hands. And Mayfield is terrific at RPO. I don't know that I've seen a better quarterback, maybe Mariota. Maybe he might be in the same conversation in terms of being an RPO quarterback. I think if you have him in that system and seeing as how that system is starting to gain traction and elements of it are work at the pro level, you put him in that, he can be successful, particularly with the weapons that he has around him.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not mad at the Baker Mayfield pick. He wasn't my QB1, but at the same time, like you said, the hire of Todd Haley makes a lot of sense. He had elements of the spread offense in Pittsburgh. He's coming to Cleveland. As long as you don't let Hue Jackson touch it.
Yeah.
I see you jumping leg airy Hue, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. Yeah. I'll tell you the positives. The positive with Baker Mayfield, we're thinking he's going to start earlier, sooner rather than later, right? He's going to overtake Tyrod Taylor.
Yes.
Positives: Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon, Joku, Duke Johnson. They drafted Nick Chubb. We're going to talk about him soon. They got Carlos Hyde on the roster. Lamborghini Chubb.
Corey Coleman?
Oh, Corey Coleman is still there. He might be getting. I'm not sure Corey Coleman's role. I like Corey Coleman, but I'm not sure if Cleveland likes him. We still have to figure that out. But my point is, it's a lot of weapons around him.
Yeah.
And we just saw Nick Foles win the Super Bowl. A system quarterback.
Are you suggesting that the Browns are going to win Super Bowl?
Hey, they got a shot. They got a shot.
They're uber talented on that offense.
You calling it?
No, I'm not calling it.
Oh, okay. I mean, you could have went on the record.
They got to get the division first and get into the playoffs.
One game at a time.
One game at a time.
Yeah.
But that's the positive. The negative that I have on Baker Mayfield, like you said, he played in that Big 12. It was a lot of easy reads. It was wide open.
Yeah, the throwing
it was wide
lanes,
open out there. That offense and
throwing lanes were massive.
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive throwing lanes.
Yeah.
He's a system quarterback. Sometimes I see that he tries to hit the home run. He needs to learn how to check it down more often, in my opinion, and not turn the football over, man. He didn't turn the football over in the Big 12, but we're in the NFL now.
Yeah.
You can implode if you turn the football over. So he just got to play within the offense, and I think he'll be okay. Well, I don't know if he's going to be great, though.
One of the things I think the reason why Cleveland really went out and got him, I know he blew him away at his pro day, and then they brought him in for a private workout, and then, you know, like you said, the intangible things. But it was also him at the Senior Bowl. They said he picked up the playbook, lickety split.
Yeah.
You know, whatever system that was, I don't know if there was some spread in there, I'm not sure, but I would imagine so. But he picked it up. So, I mean, when you talk about an intellectual player, I mean, that goes a long way.
Yeah, I think without question, Baker won the interview. I think without question, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain level of magnetism that he brings and confidence, swag that he brings to the table. You know what I'm saying? And as a leader of men, there's different ways to lead, but I think a lot of people, particularly in a machismo sport like football, you know what I mean? That's what you're kind of looking for. That's what you kind of want. That's what your teammates tend to respond to. You know what I mean? Outside of just winning games, you know what I mean? You can win, you can be quiet and just win games, and teammates are going to love you. They're going to follow you. So, but my biggest issue with Mayfield, outside of the competition he played in and week out, because he was in a lot of big games too. Although he didn't acquit himself quite as well in those big games. When the competition improved, his statistical output, his performance tend to kind of come back to the mean. They're young
Ohio State right now.
And I mean, that's just one example of it. I didn't think he played particularly well in that Rose Bowl game.
Georgia.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of points scored, but he didn't necessarily play very well. I think beyond the first read is where he's really going to have to improve. First read, Baker Mayfield is, like I said, that accuracy is pinpoint. He had big windows, but it doesn't matter. The ball was where it needed to be. Yeah. You know, he led receivers. He allowed the receivers to protect themselves, generally speaking, allowed them to run after the catch. So again, the accuracy plays, but beyond that, you start to see him. The footwork gets a little erratic. You know, he may bail the pocket a little too soon and cut the field in half because he's running outside towards the sideline. So things of that nature. He's got to trust what's going on around him a little bit and be able to work through his progressions a little bit faster.
Nature of the offense.
Yeah,
man.
let's hope he doesn't Johnny Manziel himself.
No, stop.
Stay off the.
They just hit the dislike button. They just hit the down.
DARE.
I know you've intimated that there's elements that are similar.
In certain ways. I think Manziel was more, not within the flow of the offense.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is more within the offense, but in terms of stature,
sure.
Even arm talent, I thought Manziel had a pretty good arm also. It's just Manziel had off the field demons, and it seems like Baker Mayfield is more, studying the books in the workroom.
What few concerns there were a few concerns there. I think for the most part he's cleaned up. He seems to be all business. I'm less concerned about that than I ever was about Johnny Manziel. Here's the main difference on the field. Johnny Manziel's first read was sandlot football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can turn into sandlot football for Mayfield, but typically he's working through at least the first read, trying to make something happen within the confines of the offense. That was never the case with Johnny Manziel. It was, I'm going to take this, I'm going to slap my hands together, I'm going to take this snap because I don't know what a cadence is. You know what I mean? And I'm going to run around and try to make a play. Yeah. And he did. He did at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
It works sometimes. Like we said, the Browns had 2 first-round picks, man. They had the first pick, number 1. Then we moved down 3 spots. Math is hard. 3 spots, number 4. And they draft quarterback Denzel Ward. To me, the surprise of the draft. I'm looking for a better word than change. Amend. I need something higher than that. I need to get a thesaurus.
Mm-hmm.
It completely just it changed the draft, really, man, because I didn't see that coming. I know that they really liked him, kind of loved him, but I didn't think they would go cornerback there. I figured maybe they'll trade down if they wanted Denzel, or just go elsewhere. Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb was on the board. You asked me the question earlier, Super Bowl, and I said maybe. This pick right here is more close to no. Because I think Bradley Chubb across from Myles Garrett, you asked me about the Eagles. That's how the Eagles did it. They got after the quarterback.
Blueprint.
They like Ogbah. So, maybe I'm just getting into their heads. We have Ogbah. We have Garrett. We don't really have a true cornerback one. And Denzel Ward, to me, is the best corner in the draft to the Cleveland Browns, not to CPGM Headley. Denzel Ward was not my number one corner, but to them, it was like, he's our number one corner. Let me draft Denzel Ward. The issue that I have with Denzel Ward is I don't think he's physical, man. Like, I don't know if he could hold up on the outside. He's going to be playing against guys like Antonio Brown, guys like A.J. Green. Baltimore don't really have any receivers, but he's going to play a lot of number one receivers.
This upcoming schedule, he's got a lot of number one, like Julio and company, that he's going to be asked to shadow. And
he doesn't have another guy on the opposite side. I know they got E.J. Gaines, but he don't have another, like a big homie, teaching. He's going to have to learn this by himself pretty much, and I think he's going to struggle.
I think call it baptism by.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a certain level of baptism, because of your concern, the fact that, and people will say, well, what do you mean he isn't physical? They'll look at his highlights and see some big hits when guys were a little susceptible, couldn't protect themselves. That to me isn't physicality. That's being opportunistic. That's being in the right place, which he generally is. That is his strength, his ability to mirror the opposing receiver. But the NFL becomes more about contested catches. The separation isn't, okay, I'm wide open, I show you my numbers. That's not what the NFL is about. As a defensive back, you can be in the hip pocket and give up 6 for 6. You understand what I'm saying? So his strength, obviously, is his speed, his fluidity, his ability to change directions. He has pretty good ball skills. But at the moment of truth, at the point of attack, is he going to be physical enough? Is he going to be able to make those plays, particularly against bigger receivers who can fly like him? You know what I mean? Is he going to be able to hold up outside the numbers like that? That remains to be seen. You mentioned that he wasn't your top corner in the class. He wasn't the top corner for any of us. We all agree that he is a first-round talent. Absolutely. We all agree that he's a first-round talent. My issue is twofold. I'm not passing Bradley Chubb. I'm not passing up Bradley Chubb. I get it. I understand. They didn't necessarily feel good about their defensive backfield. They like what they have opposite Myles Garrett and Ogbah. Ogbah's a good player. There's nothing wrong with having just pass rusher after bat. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. People will argue, and certainly I'm a big proponent of cornerback is the foundational piece. I agree. But nothing's more important defensively than that pass rush. Nothing is more important defensively than the pass rush. So, the second thing is that, there's a lot of talk about Denzel Ward being a superior corner to last year's guys. The defensive rookie of the year and Marshawn Lattimore, former teammate, and Tre'Davious White. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see the same level of skill outside of the ability to mirror. I don't see the same level of skill, and those guys mix it up. I want to see Ward really mix it up. To me, that'll be the determining factor whether or not he can hold up on the outside.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's the determining factor. Can he be physical? Because that's my biggest question on him. I know he got the speed. I know he got the movements. The hip, the mirroring ability. He has all of that. It's just I don't know how physically he is. So if he equips himself and is physical at line of scrimmage, then he'll be okay on the outside.
I mean, when you talk about Marshawn Lattimore from last year, and you coming from what they call it, is it DBU? They call it. Everybody's a DBU, I guess.
Not everybody.
Okay.
Not everybody.
Okay.
He said everybody.
Everybody out here self-proclaiming our colleges DBU, so I'm just saying. But I almost want to liken it to you have a superior athlete that comes from a school. He's a baller. He goes in the league. He balls out, and then there's a player that was behind him who's just as good or somewhere similar, and we kind of want to throw him with that tag. We want to put that tag on him, and I think that's one of those things where they were trying to do the same thing with Derwin James, where they were kind of maybe he could play corner like Ramsey did. It's kind of the same. Nah, man, and I think people are doing the same thing with Ohio State. And granted, they got 2 corners drafted last year, but it's just when you if you were to look at both of their films, they're similar in a lot of ways, but you can tell that there's a huge difference between the 2 players, man. Marshawn ready to stick his head in there. He ready to knock somebody out. He's physical at every aspect of his coverage. There's a point when Denzel will stop and he'll just shadow, in the middle of the coverage. So, you know, like y'all said, I want to see it because I don't see it.
Yeah, and that's where it really comes into play when we talk about the 50-50 ball, the contested catches. Again, I don't expect guys to create this huge separation down the field and full stride against Ward. It's when they're mixing it up short to intermediate. You know what I mean? The ability to disrupt the timing of the route, and that's what you got to be able to do. Ohio State has a long history of terrific defensive backs, whether it be safety, corner, whatever the case may be. They have a long history, and Urban Meyer has quite a history. But I tend to agree with you, Drew, that there seems to be some kind of, okay, well, because they just had the Gary and Conley and the Eli Apple and the Marshawn Lattimore, this guy, Denzel Ward's got to be the best thing, the next best thing. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a certain level of that.
So you threw Eli Apple in there?
He's the first round.
I know.
He's the first round pick. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you because he's at the bottom of the totem pole with that group. But I think Ward is, or Heather, you mentioned it. Ward is better than Conley.
Yeah, I think
he's
so.
not Marshawn Lattimore.
He's
between those two guys.
Yeah. The Browns had 2 second-round picks. They had the first pick in the second round. They started a trend of offensive linemen. There's a lot of offensive linemen going to the top of the second round. They selected Austin Corbett from Nevada. They had another offensive lineman, Tony, that also played in Nevada. So they're familiar. They got a little pipeline going with Nevada offensive line prospects. Joe Thomas is no longer there. So what are we thinking, man, with Austin Corbett?
I mean, I guess the interior of the Browns' offensive line is solidified with some of the moves they made last year in free agency. And so now, you know, my assumption is, and this is a very versatile guy, can pretty much play anywhere on an offensive line. Hey, man, let's just grab that puzzle piece and let's just move him over to one of the tackle positions, whether it be the left tackle where Joe Thomas has vacated. It's the best damn assembled Browns team since in years, and Thomas isn't there. Got to find his replacement. Austin Corbett, Nevada.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset. I think you mentioned off air that he's been working at one of the guard positions, and they may want him to be familiar with across the board because again he's displayed his versatility at the collegiate ranks. Got a chance to see him at the Senior Bowl. Acquitted himself pretty well, But yeah, I'm of the mindset that he's going to have to play tackle. And to your point, Drew, it's unfortunate that Joe Thomas had the injury that he had, considering what Cleveland is kind of working with from a talent standpoint now. But more importantly, I think this is about Baker Mayfield. To me, this is about Baker Mayfield because while it would appear that interior is solidified, Bitonio, Treader, and Zeitler is a good trio. Sean Coleman has talent. He's now flipping over to the left, so we have to kind of see. We're anticipating him flipping over to the left, so we have to kind of see how he acclimates. And then you could very well be starting a rookie at the right tackle, you know, who might be a better guard than tackle. You know what I'm saying? So I think when I think about the Browns offense, obviously you have the question marks. Okay, will Tyrod be the guy? You know, will Baker Mayfield overtake him? After that, my concern goes to the tackle position.
All right. The second round pick they had, they went running back. Nick Chubb out of Georgia. I call him Lamborghini Chubb.
Oh, he's that guy now?
Yeah, he's back. You know, pre-injury.
You call him Lamborghini Chubb?
Huh?
You call him Lamborghini
I heard it somewhere before.
Okay.
I coined it. You know?
I mirrored it.
Okay.
You know, this was my guy, man. He's in that line of Georgia running backs. It was Todd Gurley than him. You know, those were guys, they were comparable until the catastrophic knee injury. He's come back. He's 2 years removed from that injury. So he got back to Lamborghini Chubb last year in Georgia with Sony Michel. And I know, Drew, you were kind of puzzled at this pick, correct? Because they had Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson already in the fold.
Yeah, and it's strange to me, man. I think they could have went elsewhere. They could have went running back much later, but to go and get him, I mean, it was you know, pre-draft, it was Sony Michel, Chubb, Sony Michel, who's the better running back? And for me, it's all about preference and style. But to me, you kind of got a Nick Chubb already on the squad. His name is Carlos Hyde, who you went out and got. You know, if he can stay healthy, and maybe that was the reason they went out and got Nick Chubb. I'm a little puzzled, man, as to why they went out and got a Nick Chubb so early.
Seems like a luxury pick, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
it does, and I've had trouble because I've been trying to kind of think about, okay, put my mindset, you know, John Dorsey. What are you thinking here? Because you obviously you signed Carlos Hyde. I think there's minimal, if any. I'm not even sure if there's any guaranteed money.
It don't matter. They got plenty of money.
It's minimal at any rate. So they're not married to Carlos Hyde. They just extended Duke Johnson. I didn't personally, I want Duke to clear it, but Duke is important to that team and important to what they want to do offensively. So, but when I take a step back, as far as ball carriers are concerned, Chubb, they might be similar. You know what I mean in terms of stature, or whatever the case may be. But Chubb is a superior ball carrier to Carlos Hyde. You know what I mean? How healthy Chubb is, without question. So yeah, he can be a Lamborghini.
Let's say so. And I apologize. You know, Helly's calling him Lamborghini. I called him a Malibu, Chevy Malibu. Disrespectful. I apologize. But if that's the version you're getting, is he better than Hyde?
I think he's as good as Hyde.
Okay.
I think if Chubb never gets back to what he was looking like prior to that knee injury, you know, as you get further removed from it, he's a young guy. You think that he could kind of regain that explosiveness, that same level of explosiveness. I think if he is what he is post-injury without really getting back to that level, I think he's as good as Hyde.
I'll tell you what the difference between those two running backs is, man. Nick Chubb's a bruiser. You know, he gets better as the game go along. You want to force feed this guy in the fourth quarter. You can do your Duke Johnson thing if you're behind. You know, if you're trying to make some splash plays. But in the fourth quarter, especially Cleveland, where it gets really cold, you just keep banging ahead with Nick Chubb. I think. Even though his stature, Carlos Hyde is big, he's a slasher. He wants to shake a defender when Nick Chubb is going to bury defenders.
Yeah.
Okay, with their third-round pick, the Cleveland Browns went to the U. Chad Thomas, defensive end. So they got their pass rusher here.
Yeah, this is my guy. I call him Bradley Chubb light. I think he's the closest thing to Bradley Chubb. Just he's coming from Miami, where, as we call it, and hopefully they get better. He likes the U. That's his team. Yeah. They leave meat on the bone with all of their players. This includes Chad Thomas, man. But when I look at Chad Thomas, man, dude can get around the edge. He can play the run. Like he's a all inclusive. He's a complete defensive end. And I like this pick, man. And people talking about, oh man, they get Bradley Chubb. They get Bradley Chubb, man. They went out and got Denzel Ward. Is that what you said earlier? Mm-hmm. I think I said it too. So they went out with their third round pick. They went out and they got the next best thing, man, which is a Chad Thomas, which is damn near a mirror of Bradley Chubb, just a couple levels lower.
So you think this pick cleans up the Denzel Ward pick?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it does, and it doesn't. And the reason why I say that is because Denzel Ward wasn't my number one corner. That's the only reason why I say that, because I'm with you. Chad Thomas is Bradley Chubb-ish light. Chubb is without question a superior player, but with Chad Thomas having been miscast at times, whether it be as a 5 technique, a stand-up guy at times, whatever, he's a 4-3 end. He's a 4-3 end, and you can slide him inside and obvious passing situations. You know what I mean? So there's an opportunity there for Chad Thomas has quite a bit of upside. He had good production. It could have been great, assuming he was used correctly. But I think it does soften the blow from my perspective, selecting Denzel Ward over Bradley Chubb.
All right, 4th round pick, 105 overall. They went to the swamp. See what this guy's wearing over here?
Y'all know what it is.
Do that again?
Nah, bro, it's left over right, bro. Left
Come on, bro.
over to right, bro.
I'm doing this.
No, that's fine. No, that's disrespectful.
I'm a disrespectful kind of guy.
Okay, bro.
You know? They went and got Antonio Callaway, wide receiver from Florida. No matter. He had a lot of off-the-field issues. This guy's a versatile playmaker. Yeah, you call it playmaker, man. How is Cleveland going to use this guy?
I don't know, man. I listen. I never got the full picture, the full glimpse of what Antonio Callaway was. You always saw those, nice. You've never just seen the entire thing because he was missing the action, man, all the time, man. So if and here's the strange part. I guess you could take it's another flyer, I guess. That took.
Yeah.
You got plenty of receivers.
It kind of invokes the whole Tyreek Hill thing. John Dorsey was in Kansas City. Tyreek Hill had his issues off the field. They bring him in and look what he's done for the team. I don't know that Callaway will have that immediate impact, but I think this was about, including the Chubb selection, this was about improving talent on the roster, period.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Last year you really started to kind of see, okay, they got some nice young pieces here, whatever the case may be. Dorsey is throwing as much talent against the wall as he possibly can.
Let me ask you this, though. You're throwing talent at positions that you're already talented at.
Well, you alluded to it before. We don't know if they really like Corey Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Josh Gordon, he's going to be force-fed the ball while he's there, but it's Josh Gordon. Can you rely on Josh Gordon? Maybe. We don't know.
But then you go around and you get a guy who, I'm going to take me a Josh Gordon before I'm going to take me an Antonio Callaway.
And that's fair. That's fair. But we're talking about a fourth-round selection. Okay. All right?
Fair.
Number one.
Fair.
Number one. And Dorsey, as far as I'm concerned, has earned the latitude to kind of roll the dice.
Okay.
Because, I'm not suggesting that this is going to work out.
Yeah.
We don't know. But I think he's kind of earned the latitude to roll the dice. And if we're talking about more of a spread look, you gotta have those. You gotta be a 4 or 5 deep at receiver. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and I'm obviously talking out of both sides of my mouth. I said, can you count on Josh Gordon? We're not sure we can count on Antonio Callaway. But like I said, it isn't an apples to apples comparison when you're talking about adding pass rushers per se.
Yeah.
But return game. The jet sweep, whatever it is that they kind of have in mind, Callaway has that versatility and able to kind of do those things. We'll see ultimately how he's used. I think there's a lot of talent there, and I think to sum it all up, it was a luxury pick. It was a position of depth. They probably looked at their board. A lot of teams didn't have Callaway on their board.
Yeah.
Cleveland clearly did. Dorsey don't take players off his board. Apparently he doesn't. And he felt like that talent was worth the risk in the 4th round.
Okay. I'll see on Sundays, balling out, showing that talent.
5th round pick, Cleveland Browns select Gennard Avery. Is it Gennard or Gennard? I'm going to go Gennard.
Okay.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Linebacker, Memphis. This guy was productive. Very productive in school. Had 21.5 sacks, 45.5 tackles for loss. The Browns, the linebacking core, he's probably going to fit in there.
I'm coming around, man.
You like it?
I'm coming around on the whole passing on Bradley Chubb.
There we go.
I'm coming around. I'm coming around on it.
Clean it up.
And they did clean it up. I still would have took Bradley Chubb, but I'm coming around in terms of what they did ultimately.
Full picture. When I watch Avery on film, man, this dude, the closing speed, like I may want him coming off the edge a little bit more often from a blitzing standpoint and whatnot, but the closing speed, the sideline to sideline, he is the, what do we call the new age linebacker. Mm-hmm. And you got to have that guy in your squad. You can't be running around with 2 down linebackers, and it looks like they found their guy in the 5th round, man.
Yeah, that was... Considering, one of the things that we often talk about is statistics that do and don't. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Statistics that translate from the collegiate ranks to the NFL. A lot of guys, you see a lot of these video game numbers at the collegiate ranks, and it's like, no way in hell that's happening in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't. Yeah. Sacks tend to translate. Yeah. Sacks tend to be one of those statistics that translates, and that's one of the most important things is affecting the passer. To be able to get a guy that accomplished. He might be a bit of a tweener, but that accomplished in the 5th round, that's tremendous value.
Especially when you do it in multiple seasons. Sometimes you get a God rest his soul, is a Gaines Adams who blows up, for 2 and 3 games for the season, and then you don't see him for the rest. But he has those numbers.
6th round pick, the Cleveland Browns selected Damian Ratley from wide receiver, Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm. Another receiver.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Let me just go over down their depth chart.
Running out of fingers, running out of
roster. It's Josh Gordon, Jarvis Landry, Corey Coleman. They got Jeff Jackson from Green Bay, Ricardo Lewis who played last year, Hollywood Higgins played last year. Corey Coleman. Did I say Corey Coleman yet?
I don't know. You can put him on there again.
So, let's call him again. And now Damian Ratley. They drafted Callaway. What are they doing with all these receivers?
They got a plan.
I don't know. And they all can't make the roster.
Who says they can't? If they can play special teams, they can make the roster.
Somebody's going to be on the move. I I'm not sure Ratley will make the team. I'm not sure Higgins or Lewis will stick. You know what I mean? I think they're obviously there's not going to be enough roster spots for all those guys to be there. But I also think that there may be a move in play. I mean, Corey Coleman has struggled to stay healthy. We can't assume that he's going to play 16 games. You understand what I'm saying? You know, Josh Gordon and Antonio Callaway, despite their immense talent, respectively, we can't assume that they're going to play 16 games. So, and competition is a good thing. I agree with you from the perspective of there's other areas, other needs, whatever the case may be. But again, you're working with a lot of guys who aren't necessarily, don't have a track record of playing every single game, every snap outside of Jarvis Landry. So, and frankly, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to put as much talent around Baker Mayfield as possible.
Well, they completed that. There's a check mark there. Next pick, the 6th round pick, Simeon Thomas, cornerback, Louisiana Lafayette. Now, this is a need that they had. What are we saying about Simeon Thomas?
Simeon is super long, physical corner. You take a flyer on this guy, he might turn out to be something, but you never know, man. It's a need. And, we just finished talking about, they got another need, so they went out and they got a long, strong, big corner, man.
And I know this guy, he had a troubled history, so Dorsey, again, is not afraid. We see the Tyreek Hill, we've seen the Callaway. He's not afraid to draft talented guys with troubled history.
And this tells you, too, that he's going, he just got there, obviously, but, he's going to be there for a while. And there's teams that in the league who, sometimes draft players with plenty of talent, but got troubled history. I mean, the Bengals are a good example of that. I mean, they materialize. I mean, I don't think the Bengals have lost a player that they've drafted in terms of, their character.
Yeah.
Or they brought him in for free agency because they got in trouble with other teams.
Recently, over the last 5 to 10 years, I think
they've done a really good job.
Some legitimacy to that claim. So, Dorsey, apparently there's a plan. There's the structure within that organization to kind of, at least to some degree, because you can't handhold these guys. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You're not going to be around them, 100% of the time. Even though we've seen where teams have put a 2 or 3 man detail on a player. I think Dorsey's probably looking these guys in the eye and saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? You got an opportunity here. Either you adhere to this or you're going to be out. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
Yeah. There you have it, man. You can check out the post of the recap at couchpotatogm.com. Hashtag dog pound. Drew wants you to comment, man. He wants you to like.
I got it.
Yeah, get it, man.
Stop what you're doing.
There you go.
The video is almost over. You got one last thing you need to do is hit that subscribe button. You can hit the like button. I would like for you to hit the like button.
I like that.
And then comment, man. Send us a comment. If we got something wrong, let us know. We got something extra right. We definitely want to know. We want to converse. We want to conversate. Is that? I just messed that up. I said converse, which is a word. Conversate. I'm gonna use it anyways. We want to talk. We want to discuss. We want to debate. That's what we're about here, man. Spread the word. Hashtag dog pound.